So, am I forever going to be plagued by the fact that I like this movie?
Fantastic Four?
Yeah.
Well, I like it too.
I know you like it, but I think I could very well be the biggest supporter of this movie. Probably in the country.
You were giving so much shit at first, too.
And I looked at, and I think that's
this is going to be a goddamn piece of shit.
Well, you follow the internet buzz, and, you weren't really led to believe anything else. Like, this movie...
It had bad coverage the entire time.
Yeah, bad, huge negative hype, lots of bad reviews, and that kind of killed it at the box. It's kind of like the Geely of the comic book genre. Like, this movie that just got so much bad press behind it, and just terrible, venomous hype, and then it just died, and it died a horrible death. Geely and Fantastic Four both died a horrible death. But yeah, I walked into it just expecting yet another comic book disaster, and I thought the movie was at least interesting. I guess I'm just kind of open to the idea of radically changing something that's existed for a long time. Because I'll tell you the truth, as far as the Four's origin goes, how many times have we gotten that in media now?
I'll see, 1, 2, 4 times, 3
Well,
times.
We have 2 on screen besides this, the Roger Corman movie and the 2005 one.
And then we have that old piece of crap that first came out. What was that?
The Roger Corman movie.
It's the Roger Corman movie.
Yeah. And there was a cartoon series.
Well, if we're going to go that far, there's a lot of them.
Yeah,
Fantastic Four has always been a popular...
Even if you look in the comics...
It's a brainchild, you might even want to say.
But even in the comics, besides the Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, you got, Mark Millar's Ultimate Run and, things like that, so...
And Doom's a staple of the Marvel Universe. So,
well, yes, he is. Unfortunately, because of legal issues, he can't really be in the Marvel Universe as far as movies go.
Well, we hadn't got him really in the real movies.
No, we really haven't. There is effort displayed here, right?
There's a movie in there. The movie starts off pretty good, I thought.
Yeah, I think the first...
It feels like 2 separate movies.
It does.
They cut it, it's like if they took the beginning of one movie and... tacked on the end of another. 2 different Fantastic Four movies. Because it feels like it's a completely different movie when you get to the after they transform.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Yeah. They had close to a month of reshoots, I think. And, all you have to do is, look at Kate Mara's head to see, whether you're watching something that was, part of the reshoots or something that they shot originally, because her wig is terrible. It is like Kate Bosworth in Superman Returns kind of bad. It is atrocious. Very odd. It feels like a patchwork, but...
the entire, end of that movie, I think, was green screen, probably.
Oh, it definitely was. The stuff on...
That was a really easy cop-out, too, to get to not have to go anywhere else. It's let's shoot the final fight on a green stage.
Alright, this isn't classic Fantastic Four.
No, well, you know what? This movie feels like it was supposed to be made back when, the first 2 Spider-Man movies.
I think it would have been more well received.
It would have.
To me, it kind of feels like... it does feel like a comic book movie that should have been made before, but it also kind of feels like a TV pilot. Because... there's this sense of, this doesn't feel like a complete movie.
That and the CGI is not that great.
That too,
it's pretty sad. How much money did they have for this movie?
It was $125 million is what they spent on it. Not including the marketing, which was probably, almost as much.
Yeah.
With all the,
And how much did they make back?
Oh, God. This movie's... theatrical run ended at $56 million. Which, fun fact, the first Fantastic Four movie back in 2005 made that much money in 3 days. So that is an epic failure.
Yeah.
The absolute biggest problem with the movie. The thing that probably let me down the most was that even though this cast is good and or serviceable in their roles, they never feel like a family. It's like they almost don't interact with each other that much in this movie.
Oh, they do that lame thing, like, oh, we can't beat them apart, we had to beat them together thing. Like, some movies do it well, like fucking Guardians of the Galaxy did fine.
But that's also, that moment that you're talking about, that is an obvious reshoot. So that is totally Fox, trying to turn it. I honestly think that the version of this movie that, Trank said he had a year ago, because he posted on Twitter that, a year ago I had, a terrific version of this movie, and you'll probably never see it. Something tells me that version was probably far more extreme in terms of really sticking to the Cronenberg concept of making it like dark science fiction or science fiction horror, as opposed to, a comic book action movie, and that Fox maybe got cold feet about that. I think the Thing having no dick is like something that they had like a serious conversation about at any point.
Well, that's, who would bring that up? Like, I mean, it's like, okay, there's a problem with the Thing when we're doing this movie. He has to have no dick.
Yeah,
it's like
we can't put him in pants.
No, pants are too
Rock Monster and pants.
Pants cost money.
Yeah, pants cost money. It's just it's ridiculous to have a rock monster walking around with pants on. It's like, but because I hear people talk about Batman and Robin, like it didn't even really cross their minds that it would be weird to have
the giant cod piece,
yeah, and the nipples on the bat suit and shit. But in hindsight, it kind of looks strange, and I think that's really the same case here. Do you think that they had a scene that really showed like Ben's humanity, where he's freaking out about the fact that he has no cock, or he thinks it's underneath the rock?
He's trying to dig it out.
Yeah, like Sue comes to visit him, see how he's doing, and he's like turned around, back face to her, and he's got like a pile of rocks like building around his feet. He's got a chisel and a hammer in his hand. She's like, "Ben, what are you doing?"
It's shot from like in the side. You see rocks dropping. You just see him with like a chisel doing this.
Yeah.
And Steve masturbating. And rocks, he turns around. I'm trying to find it.
I know it's under here somewhere. I know it is. I don't care if it's covered in orange rocks. I've always had a weird looking dick. It's like a floppy pencil with a big eraser. I can deal with orange rock, but I know it's there, and I need to know it's there. You don't just lose feeling in your cock. Like, I know it's. Ben knows it's clobbering time is introduced as something that his abusive older brother said before he kicked the shit out of him.
I don't know if that was the best call, having that.
No, probably not. I mean, it could have been worse, like some scene where you find out that Franklin Storm used to be like terrible alcoholic. Like, he would say flame on and put cigarettes out on Johnny. Which, speaking of flame on, Johnny needs his suit to apparently turn the flames on and off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was something Cameron said he didn't like about the movie.
Well, that's understandable. But, in the movie, they're gaining control of their powers slowly. So I see that if they were going to make a sequel, which they probably won't.
I seriously doubt it at this point. Also, Johnny's suit is the only one that actually has a 4 on it.
And it's sad because, the Reed Richards in the movie is just great.
He is.
I mean, it's amazing. I would like to see him in another movie as Reed Richards, but it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. I think Miles Teller, he really was a good Reed Richards.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I really like the scene. It's a weird scene. I mean, this whole movie is just, it's strange. It's very small for a comic book superhero movie, especially compared to everything else that we've seen. But I do really like that scene, like, between him and Sue in the library, where he kind of, he seems like a human being, as opposed to, in the other movies, where he felt almost like Spock in a weird way. This is kind of, very emotionally distant in a way that just didn't really seem remotely human.
Well, I guess that they kind of took that approach, is that he's disconnected. That's why he's so smart that he's disconnected. Which they did that with Doom in this one.
Yeah, they did, but it was kind of like, that was definitely on purpose. It wasn't, kind of drifting away from the world and not realizing it. It was very, very conscious on his point.
Yeah.
I mean, and Doom was solid until, he was Dr. Doom or Scanner Doom. Doom making people's fucking heads explode. Apparently their form of transportation, well, Johnny's form of transportation has always been the same, which is flying.
Yeah.
Because if you're a flying character...
Which, in the movie, one thing I didn't like is that he didn't have a flame trail.
Yeah.
I like the flame trail.
I think everybody does, but...
It just looks kind of stupid, like, without the flame trail when you're looking at it.
Yeah, I mean...
Like, him, like, flying through the air like Superman doesn't work as well. He needs that flame trail. He needs to look like a comet.
Or a rocket.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what he is. He's basically just burning fuel.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he's shooting into the air.
Which, I mean, the Human Torch special effects in this movie are way better than the ones in the previous movie,
yeah.
I think.
Well, it looks like actual fire.
Yeah.
Like I said, no trail. So,
yeah.
Not perfect for me.
Well, I mean, I don't really think much about this movie is perfect, to tell you the truth. But, I mean, like, I have seen concept art now of what was supposed to be the Fant4stical in this movie, which I assume is how, the other three did get around. It was like the Fant4stical if it existed in the Mad Max universe. Like, it was this weird looking thing.
They had spikes and corpses all over.
Well, no, it didn't quite go that far. But it was very strange looking. But they opted to just have Sue make this weird blue bubble around them that they float in for some reason.
Like zero.
When they roll around like a gerbil and like just little plastic balls.
Oh, instead they just kind of float and like turn flips and stuff. It's funny watching the Thing fly around with it because he's just like stiff.
Yeah,
he's like just floating.
But they should have just had the Fant4stical. Like,
yeah.
I mean, why not? This movie definitely could have used a little more spectacle and wonder. I don't think anybody's arguing that.
A lot of cop-out graphics, too.
Yeah. That is definitely true. The 1 year later, like, right in the middle of the movie. I've never seen, like, a time passage graphic in the middle of a fucking movie before. Like, who does that?
Yeah.
And it's so strange because it's like the movie that you see before that graphic is almost a completely different movie than what comes after.
Yes, I should have just had another title scene.
Yeah. It's just like, okay, well, here's the rest of the story presented to you by Fox because it is full of scenes that were obviously not originally there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the movie does feel like a patchwork, and there's no denying that.
That Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man effect.
Oh, God.
As it kind of has that feel. I mean, it's been cut to pieces and stuff's been added to it because the studio got scared and they were afraid people weren't going to like it, which they didn't, and that kind of just backfired and worked against them.
Like, let's give credit where credit's due. This whole comic book movie craze that started 15 years ago was their doing. Like, because nobody was making comic book movies, and they were the ones who, spent like $75 million and made X-Men, and, that was kind of the dawn of the modern-day comic book movie.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, like, they're still making good X-Men movies. The last 3 X-Men movies have been good.
Oh, they were wonderful.
We have Deadpool coming. We have X-Men Apocalypse coming. So as far as their X-Men titles go, I don't see that running out of steam, at least right now. Once they start losing...
Deadpool's going to be almost a kick for them. Like, because there's a lot riding on that movie.
I think there is, yeah.
I'm excited for it.
Well, I mean, of course, I think everybody is excited
see it. And with Warner Brothers, they're trying to kickstart the universe off completely. That's what that is. It's going to be the year of kickstarts.
Yeah. And Marvel Studios continuing to be better.
We're
way ahead of you fucking guys. Like,
yeah, Marvel Studios is doing great. They, if they get the Fantastic Four, I'd be just ecstatic.
Yeah, I think
just because of Doom
and
Galactus.
And Galactus, which, I'm more concerned to finally see a good cinematic version of Doom, which is the one thing that we haven't gotten.
This cinematic version of Galactus.
Yeah, this movie provided us with a great read. I think that the 2005, 2007 movies had a really good thing. I think Michael Chiklis was a really good thing. So that each movie has like something about it that works and other things that don't. I think that this is the one that I probably will be most fond of the pre-Marvel Studios Fantastic Four, which we know is coming. I know that Fox keeps saying that they want to make a sequel to this movie and they plan to, but they won't. It would be a bad business decision. So they're going to let the rights lapse, and it's going to go back to Marvel. I know that one person who, I don't know if he's expressed interest, people have talked about him doing it, that everybody wants to see a Fantastic Four movie by Brad Bird, who's a Pixar director. He directed The Incredibles. So he basically already has made the best Fantastic Four movie ever.
Yeah.
So
that was a decent movie.
And somebody else, I believe it was Adi Shankar at Comic-Con, was like, let me make a Fantastic Four movie. He was the guy who produced Dread and The Gray, and he's been making all these weird short films for the internet, like that Power Rangers one.
That was so bad.
And the Punisher movie with Thomas Jane, The Dirty Laundry, where he, kicks everybody's ass with a bottle. Which that would be interesting, but I don't see how that would be too much different than, what they just did, because I know that he would try and probably edge it up and make it dark, and they kind of already meant to do that. Like, the difference between the Fox Fantastic Four franchises so far is that one, they're on totally different ends of the spectrum, because one tried to be very kid-friendly and campy and, silly and fun, and this one definitely tries to be,
a lot darker.
Yeah, and more like, a Cronenberg flick.
Mm-hmm.
And, but yet, at the same time, this movie also tries to be, tries to be joyful in a few moments, and it doesn't gel very well. So at the end of the day, I think the movie is like a really interesting experiment.
It would work if it was 10 years ago.
I think so.
That's how I see it, because it feels like it was made at the wrong time, and that's why it wasn't presented as well, because Marvel's got us spoiled, man.
Yeah, they
really
do.
We've gotten so many good films from them. Anything even kind of worse than anything of that, like anything in, like, under the Incredible Hulk movie is considered bad now.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're not wrong at all, but I also think that makes me nervous, because it makes me think that maybe the trend is going to end soon, because eventually, not every movie is going to hit that mark, and is that going to derail it?
Well, I think Marvel can do it. I think Marvel can keep hitting bullseyes all they want.
Well,
they have too much story, dude. It's a big universe.
Pixar had a great run too until they made Cars, which was still a box office success.
Oh yeah, and there's a lot of kids
unlike Fantastic Four, but eventually Marvel Studios will make a movie that won't work. Fox, half of the Marvel movies that they have made didn't work. And in terms of, where Fantastic Four kind of rests, there are much worse comic book movies in the world. Fox has made worse comic book movies. Elektra, X-Men Origins Wolverine. So, I don't see it as a complete embarrassment on their part. I just see it as this weird misfire. I think at this point...
Well, they're thinking they're embarrassed.
Oh yeah, they're definitely embarrassed, because they lost a lot of money and, made, like, one of the most quickly hated movies since, like I said, Gigli. Like, that level of just, colossal bad press. That's
really not their fault. None whatsoever.
It's kind of their fault. The marketing campaign in this movie was very inconsistent. This is definitely going to be that that movie for me. It's going to be for me what Tank Girl is to you.
Oh God, I love Tank Girl for some reason.
Just that weird, pretty, gleaming turd that you just you can't help but like, and everybody else is like, "Are you crazy? You're a piece of shit."
Yeah. Watched that movie when I was like 8.
Yeah, so I really have no excuse. I'm 23. I should actually be able to tell the difference between a good movie and a bad movie. But maybe it's just I have a soft spot for this team. Maybe it's because it's a fusion of two of my favorite things. It's body horror and comic books. Yeah. So I don't know.
Doctor Doom transcends comic books.
Because the Fantastic Four is probably my favorite team that Marvel has in the comics.
Really?
Probably.
It's interesting.
Probably. I mean, the Avengers would be a close second. Maybe the X-Men would be probably third. But I think the Fantastic Four, for Doctor Doom alone, the fact that that comic brought Doctor Doom into existence, that's enough for me.
Yeah.
I call it the best thing that Marvel has. But, I love the team members, and like I said, this movie gave me, the best version of one of my favorites of the team, if not my very favorite, which is Reed. So one day we're finally going to get that perfect Fantastic Four movie, and it's probably going to be a Marvel Studios production when it happens.
Yeah, more than likely.
But for now, it's like we have a bunch of turds, and for me, it's like this one is the shiniest. I think it's just pick your poison at this point, though, because you're going to get some shit along with, the stuff that you actually like. No matter what movie you pick. Even Roger Corman's movie has, a few endearing things about it, but it's also got a lot of really fucking ridiculous things.